What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. Today we're starting off our videos with Nova Centurion. This is going to be issue number 1, and this is coming directly out of Imperial. And for those that don't know, the Nova Corps, they were the protectors of peace in the universe until the Annihilation War. This pretty much wiped them all out. But we have Richard Rider. He now stands alone as Nova Prime. He reactivated the super intelligent Worldmind. This is the last repository of the Lost Corps' knowledge and all of their power. But with the Worldmind now back online, it costs quite a bit of money to make sure it stays online. Also, before we jump into this issue, I have 2 videos up right now that are signed comics that I'm giving away. One video, signed Jeff Johns comics, and another is Death Shroud with Chad Larson. So make sure you guys are checking those videos out. All you have to do is comment on the video, and you get a chance at winning one of the comics. But this story is picking us up on Garfon 2. We have a civilian vessel that is calling out a mayday. They have currently caught themselves in a black hole's gravity well. Hearing this mayday, Nova says that he's en route, that he's on the way. This is where we see Rider making his way through the stars. But the Worldmind is also letting him know that he's exhausted 30% of his pretty much available energy reserves opening up that Stargate to get here, reminding him that getting here, that was only the first part. Have you considered what it would cost to exit, to leave this place? Now, of course, Nova tells the Worldmind that I can't do anything about that. What would you have me do at the end of the day? We could let them all die, and obviously, that's not an option. But the Worldmind is really just reminding him that you have limitations. What remains of the Xandarian people, it all resides in him. If the power reserves end up exhausted, the Worldmind will cease to exist, as well as any last traces of Xandar. Richard Rider is the guardian of all that remains of a murdered civilization. But as they focus on the here and now, the Worldmind giving him a sit rep, we got a civilian vessel with roughly 3,000 passengers and about 1,500 crew members. 68% of his reserves remaining. And we have the ship that is currently burning at 120% capacity. And it is still being drawn into the black hole's event horizon. So really, they're just delaying the inevitable. And at that rate of burn, they're going to have a catastrophic engine failure in a matter of moments if it hasn't already happened. Richard thinks that we've only got one move here, and that move is to open up a Stargate. Now, opening up a Stargate is one thing, but there is a minimum velocity required to travel through a Nova-class Stargate, a velocity that this ship just doesn't have. But as the Worldmind runs the calculations, it prepares to open up the Stargate regardless. To make this work, Nova has to get in communication with the crew. He tells the captain that you have to shut off your engines. Now, at first, they're very hesitant about this. But Nova tells them that I'm Nova. I am Nova Prime. He says that I fought in the Annihilation War, the Conquest War, the War of Kings, the Imperial War. He fought the Undying Lord and sealed the vault. He killed Annihilus with his own 2 hands. He put down Thanos. So when he tells them to power down their drives, understand that he has done so much and survived so much worse than this. This is not where Nova Prime dies. This is not where any of them die. With the engine shut off, it's being sucked into the black hole. With this gravitational pull, they should be able to reach sufficient velocity in 20 seconds. They hit the event horizon in 21 seconds. He is turning the black hole gravity well from a threat to an asset. Opening up the Stargate, we see the entire civilian vessel go with it, picking up 3.78 light years away. Nova has saved the day, and he has done so with energy reserves at 36%. Now, with the day being saved, they go inside the civilian vessel. Maybe they can get a sandwich or something. The Worldmind saying, maybe you can get a little bit of money out of them too, because it is not cheap to, keep up the energy reserves. Now, getting inside, he's obviously met with cheers, thunderous applause, the whole 9 yards. And he tells him, I'm a Nova, this is what I do. But I'm also the last Nova. And when I use up my energy reserves like I just did saving you guys, I need some replenishment. That costs credits. So in recognition of what we all went through, he takes off his helmet and he kind of asks for money. And everybody looks at him with shame and distaste. You can hear the voices, Nova wanting to be paid. Nobody even asked for him to be hired. Some even saying that it's embarrassing, entitled. So shortly after sitting at the bar, we have Nova in a rather depressed state. But this is when Pip the Troll comes up to him. And Pip the Troll is more or less saying that I'm gonna be your agent. That you need representation. You know, you're a swell guy, you're a hero, you're a golden god. But you also have too much faith in people, specifically rich people. You gotta start getting contracts before you render your services. Saying that Adam Warlock, he was the same exact way. Pip the Troll is saying you need representation. You need management, you need an agent. You need Pip the Troll. And Pip the Troll is only asking for 10%. So as we pick up 3 months later, business is a-booming. As we see with Pip the Troll just absolutely blinged out. Gold necklaces, gold rings, the whole 9 yards. And he's hitting him up because he's got a new job for him. This one coming with a non-refundable consultation fee. But the organization is the war. The client is the Kree Skrull War. Not to be confused with an event, the KSW is a criminal organization referred to as one of the 5 scourges. One of the 5 most dangerous gangster families in all of space. But Pip is letting him know that all you have to do for this job is show up and get paid. You just have to take the meeting, you don't even have to take the job. And so, agreeing to this, he shows up. Now, when it comes to this organization, there's not a lot known on exactly how it was founded or how they came together. But these two forces together, this criminal empire is powerful. Their greatest strength lie in their military experience. Every KSW soldier, at one point or another, has been an actual soldier with extensive combat experience. As one of the 5 scourges, the KSW should be treated as an extremely dangerous organization at all times. The leaders, you have Gar Vaughn, and then you have Croth of the Scrolls. Legend has it that they met as opposing commanders on the battlefield. How they came to form a spanning criminal syndicate, that remains unknown. But Nova shows up and they're like, you know, we hired a Nova to show up, so put on your helmet. And Nova puts it on. He's like, all right, I'll play along. I put on the helmet. I'm here. But the truth of the matter is, I'm not going to take this job. I know who you are. You're dangerous people. And what little pride I have left is not going to let me do this job. As he turns around and he goes to leave, they say that we were robbed. 2 cycles ago, they had their vaults just opened up. They were breached. And you can only imagine the kind of power that would represent. This definitely piques his interest. Now, the security systems, they were almost completely destroyed. But those vaults could give Thanos at least a little bit of pause. What was stolen? That's the most interesting thing out of all of this. Mysterium, one of the most precious metals to ever exist. Anti-magic properties, and a contender with vibranium itself. Mysterium is a metal that came up from mutants. It came up during the Krakoan era. And actually, if you guys remember, any of you that followed the Marauders comics with me, we talked about how the mutants were just giving away buttloads of Mysterium. They were making deals across the stars. And I even said at the time, I was like, this is a horribly stupid idea. It was gonna come back to bite them in the butt. Now Mysterium can no longer be produced. Krakoa no longer exists. And so the access to getting Mysterium has been forever cut off. That means any Mysterium that is left in existence, it is highly valuable. Add in the fact that the properties of this metal are arguably some of the best to ever exist when we're talking about precious ores. It's almost impossible to attach a dollar amount of valuation to Mysterium because of how rare it has become. But they did catch an accomplice, one that is an Earther. It's Cammy. Cammy was there at the demise of Xandar. Nova escaped with her and Drax, and he remembers all of this. Immediately, he says, I'll take the job, without even hesitation. The terms of his contract, though, is that he wants his money up front. He wants his advance up front, but he's not actually asking for money. He wants the girl. He wants Cammy. He says that she's an Annihilation War veteran, just like him, just like them, and so he owes her a debt. And while this is unorthodox, they grant it. They grant it because he's pretty sure he already knows who ripped them off, hurting all of them back in the Annihilation War. Nova, Kree, and Skrulls alike. Now in exile in this system, he tells them that you're gonna pay me to take that guy down. And that guy is Ravenous. That is where this issue will end. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Absolutely fantastic start to our Nova story. It's nice to see Nova back around, back in comics, back in the mainstream of things. Now having a solo comic of his own after the events of Imperial, I cannot wait to see where this goes. And while the Mysterium doesn't necessarily have like a huge significance to this story, the Marvel writers really could make Mysterium a huge threat, something that they would have to take care of, because with its anti-magic properties and its durability, it's one of the most dangerous metals to ever have existed. I think that this is the perfect story to bring Mysterium back around in. Like, we're talking about criminal organizations. Not just any criminal organizations, but the 5 Scourges. Huge organizations that are spanning planets. Of course they're gonna get their hands on Mysterium. Of course somebody is gonna try to steal that Mysterium. And so of course, Mysterium's gonna end up on the black market. And when that happens, who the hell knows what happens next? You know, we never saw the metal actually used to its fullest potential. And though I highly doubt they're gonna expand too much more on Mysterium, I would definitely like to see more stories, more comics covering it and dealing with it. Though I would prefer them to be X-Men comics. All in all though, it was a great story. The artwork is absolutely fantastic. Nova, the colors, the ink, all of it. Absolutely poppin', out of this world, and I am excited for what might happen next. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your theories. If you want to get caught up on everything going on with this series, go ahead, check out the link in my description, as well as the top of this video. That's going to get you caught up on everything that has been going on with Imperial or anything dealing with Marvel Comics. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. This is a lot like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, you're getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you're unable to do this, please do me the favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.